Hello, future chemists. Welcome to an exciting journey into the heart of chemical reactions. Today, we are diving into the fascinating world of equilibrium, specifically focusing on the equilibrium constant. Have you ever wondered why some reactions seem to stop before all reactants are used up? We'll uncover the answer. We'll start with the basics, then move through medium, hard, and finally, the most challenging competitive level insights. Get ready to explore. Let's kick things off with the easy level. Here, we'll build a strong foundation by understanding what the equilibrium constant truly is and how we express it. Imagine a tug-of-war where both teams are pulling with equal force. That's chemical equilibrium. It's a dynamic state where forward and reverse reaction rates become equal, and the concentrations of reactants and products remain constant over time. This concept is formalized by the law of mass action, proposed by Guldberg and Varge. It states that the rate of a reaction is proportional to the product of reactant concentrations, each raised to its stoichiometric power. This fundamental law helps us quantify reaction rates and ultimately, the state of equilibrium. Building on the law of mass action, when the forward and reverse rates are equal, we can define a constant ratio of product concentrations to reactant concentrations. This is our equilibrium constant, Kc, expressed in terms of molar concentrations. For reactions involving gases, we can also use partial pressures, leading to Kp. Remember, K is a unique value for a given reaction at a specific temperature. For example, the synthesis of ammonia has a distinct Kc and Kp expression. Now, let's test your understanding with a few easy practice questions. Pause the video, try to solve them, and then check your answers to reinforce what you've learned about the basics of the equilibrium constant. Ready to dive a bit deeper? In the medium level, we'll explore the relationship between Kc and Kp, understand their units, and grasp the significance of Ks magnitude. One of the key relationships in chemical equilibrium is between Kc and Kp. For gaseous reactions, these two constants are related through the ideal gas law. We can derive that Kp equals Kc multiplied by RT raised to the power of delta N. Here, delta N represents the change in the number of moles of gaseous species from reactants to products. This formula is vital for interconverting between Kp and Kc values depending on the data provided in a problem. Understanding the units of Kc and Kp is also crucial. The units depend directly on the value of delta N. For Kc, the unit is typically mol L raised to delta N, and for Kp, it's atm or bar raised to delta N. While strictly dimensionless when using activities, these units are commonly used in G problems. Furthermore, the magnitude of the equilibrium constant tells us a lot about the reaction's extent. A large K means products are favored, a small k means reactants are favored, and intermediate values suggest a mix of both at equilibrium. It's important to remember that the equilibrium constant is highly sensitive to temperature. Changing the temperature is the only way to alter the value of K for a specific reaction. Other factors like changes in concentration, pressure, or the addition of a catalyst might shift the equilibrium position according to Le Chatelier's principle, but they do not change the numerical value of K itself. This distinction is key for solving more complex equilibrium problems. Time to put your medium-level knowledge to the test. Here are 5 practice questions designed to solidify your understanding of the relationship between Kc and Kp, their units, and the significance of Ks magnitude. Take your time, solve them carefully, and then review your solutions. Now, let's step up to the hard level. We'll tackle derivations, manipulations of K, and delve into heterogeneous equilibria. Let's revisit the derivation of Kp is equal to Kc, RT, delta N with more rigor. By substituting the ideal gas law, P is equal to CRT, into the Kp expression and carefully separating the concentration terms from the RT terms, we clearly see how Kc emerges and how the power of RT is determined by the stoichiometric difference in gaseous moles, delta N. This derivation is fundamental for a deeper understanding and for solving problems where you need to switch between Kp and Kc. Manipulating equilibrium constants is a powerful tool. If you reverse a reaction, its new K is the reciprocal of the original. If you multiply a reaction by a factor, n, the new K is the original K raised to the power, n. And most importantly, if you add elementary reactions to get an overall reaction, the overall K is the product of the individual K values. These rules allow us to calculate K for complex reactions from known simpler ones and are vital for multi-step equilibrium problems. Understanding heterogeneous equilibria is also crucial. In these systems, where reactants and products exist in different phases, the concentrations of pure solids and pure liquids are considered constant and are therefore omitted from the equilibrium constant expression. For example, in the decomposition of calcium carbonate, only the partial pressure or concentration of gaseous carbon dioxide appears in the K expression. This simplification is based on the concept of activity, where pure solids and liquids have an activity of 1 in their standard state. It's time for some hard-hitting practice. These 7 questions will challenge your understanding of Kp-Kc derivations, manipulating K values, and applying the concepts to heterogeneous equilibria. Work through them diligently to master these advanced aspects. All right, G aspirants, get ready for the ultimate challenge. In this hardest level, we'll connect the equilibrium constant to thermodynamics, explore its temperature dependence, use the reaction quotient, and look at real-world industrial applications. The equilibrium constant isn't just an empirical ratio, it has a deep thermodynamic basis. It's directly linked to the standard Gibbs free energy change, delta G degree, through the equation delta G degree is equal to RT ln K. This fundamental relationship tells us that a negative delta G degree corresponds to K greater than 1, favoring products, while a positive delta G degree means K is less than 1, favoring reactants. This connection allows us to predict the spontaneity and extent of a reaction from thermodynamic data. How does K change with temperature? The Van 't Hoff equation answers this. Its differential form, d ln K dt is equal to delta H degree, RT superscript 2, and its integrated form, ln Kk, is equal to delta H degree R asterisk 1T, allow us to calculate K at different temperatures if we know the standard enthalpy change, delta H degree. This equation is crucial for optimizing reaction conditions in industry, as it precisely quantifies how K responds to temperature changes, depending on whether the reaction is exothermic or endothermic. Beyond the equilibrium constant, we have the reaction quotient, Q. Q uses non-equilibrium concentrations or pressures, effectively telling us the current state of a reaction. By comparing Q with K, we can predict the direction a reaction will shift to reach equilibrium. If Q is less than K, the reaction moves forward. If Q is greater than K, it moves backward. And if Q equals K, the system is already at equilibrium. This predictive power is invaluable for understanding and controlling chemical processes. Finally, let's look at the practical impact. Understanding the equilibrium constant is vital for optimizing industrial processes like the Haber-Bosch synthesis of ammonia or the contact process for sulfuric acid. Engineers carefully adjust temperature, pressure, and use catalysts to shift equilibrium, maximizing product yield and economic efficiency. We also need to consider the subtle effects of adding inert gases. At constant volume, there's no effect, but at constant pressure, it can shift the equilibrium by changing partial pressures. This knowledge is what separates theoretical understanding from real-world application. Now, for the ultimate test of your understanding. Here are the first 5 out of 10 challenging questions. These problems are designed to push your limits and prepare you for competitive exams. Take your time, apply all the concepts we've discussed, and work through each problem methodically. And here are the remaining 5 questions to complete your hardest level practice. These questions will truly solidify your grasp on the equilibrium constant, its thermodynamic links, and its applications. Keep practicing, keep challenging yourself, and you'll master this topic. Congratulations on completing this comprehensive journey through the equilibrium constant. We've covered everything from basic definitions to advanced thermodynamic connections and industrial applications. To continue your learning adventure and explore more such in-depth content for GMA, visit synapse.omaps.in. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more high-quality educational content. Keep learning, keep growing, and excel in your G preparation.